Welcome to the USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology's presentation on the PhD in Geroscience program. My name is Stephen Stump, and I'm a admission counselor here at the School of Gerontology, and I can answer any questions about our program, our admission process, or our school. Today's presentation, we're going to discuss the PhD in Geroscience program, the admission process, and some questions about the day-to-day aspects of the program. We're joined by Dr. Sean Curran, who is the Vice Dean, Dean of Faculty and Research, Professor of Gerontology, a Jane E. Barron Chair of Gerontology, and the Chair of the PhD in Geroscience program at the University of Southern California Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. He received his PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology from UCLA and completed his postdoctoral training at Harvard Medical School and the Massachusetts General Hospital. Dr. Curran's current research program is funded by the National Institutes of Health and has received past research funding by the Ellison Medical Foundation, the American Federation for Aging Research, and the American Heart Association. Dr. Curran is a fellow of the Gerontological Society of America. He has received numerous awards for his research, including the Paul F. Glenn Award, the nation's Schock New Investigator Award, and the Ewald W. Booth Research Award. Curran's mentoring has been recognized by the Mellon Foundation, and in 2019, he received the USC Provost Mentoring Award. Our PhD in Gerontology program has an emphasis on biomedical sciences, geroscience, the biology of aging, neuroscience, and regenerative sciences. All of the research and classes in the program take place at our USC campus in Los Angeles, and we do suggest that students set aside around 4 to 6 years for the program. During this time, the program is fully funded for any student that is admitted in, and that means that we're able to cover the cost of tuition, as well as provide a stipend check intended for use on housing or living expenses. The program has one start date a year, which is every August. The admission cycle starts the year prior. So this is a great time to start applying for our fall 2025 start date. The program has a number of faculty that work with our students and take on incoming students as either the chair of their committee or their faculty advisors. These are some of our noted faculty that work within the program. And I'd like to take special note of our dean, who is Dr. Pinchas Cohen, located in the top left of the screen. In order to apply to this program, please submit your application by December 1st, 2024 for a fall 2025 start date. You can find the application on our website, which is grad.adm.usc.edu. In order to apply, we'll need your online application, a resume, a statement of interest, 3 letters of recommendation, all of your official transcripts from any institution you attended since post-secondary school, and a sample of your writing that can be published or unpublished work. If you are an international student, depending on where you completed your bachelor's, master's degree, or your country of origin, you may be required to submit English language proficiency test scores, a copy of your passport, and financial documents. If you have any questions after this presentation, please feel free to reach out to me. This is the best email and phone number to reach me at. Without further ado, Dr. Curran.
So I wanted to give you a little bit of background about the program because I think geroscience is sort of a new term out in the field. And so really, a lot of folks might have the question, what actually is geroscience? It's really the intersection of the basic biology of aging and how that impacts chronic disease and health throughout the lifespan. Since aging really is one of the major risk factors of several chronic diseases, including frailty and the lack of resilience or being able to recover later in life, we want to know, how does the aging process really affect disease processes and susceptibility, but also vice versa. And so I think geroscience explores the biological basis of aging, and our goal is to inform future interventions that can enhance health across the lifespan.
So can you elaborate on how you are taking some of those initiatives of geroscience into the objectives of the program?
Yeah, so I think our goal after the end of your PhD training is really to empower you as a future leader of the field. And so you need to have an understanding of the biological basis of aging and how that relates to age-related diseases. Here at USC, we have an umbrella of all of the health science institutes. And so we have a really great connection between Keck School of Medicine, pharmacy, dentistry, as well as the School of Gerontology. And so individuals who are doing research related to aging and the aging process can all act as mentors to PhD students in the program.
Sounds like there's a lot that a student can study in the program and with other labs at the university. Could you talk a little about what type of careers this program will set students up for?
Right. So we will provide you with all of the knowledge base and practical skills that are necessary to do independent research careers. And that can be in industry, it can be in academia, it can be if you wanted to move into publishing or be an editor of a journal, or even if you wanted to sort of guide policy and how we think about science and science education at the national level.
That's really interesting that it allows students to kind of branch off and not just stay in academia. So
Yeah,
what type of
there's a lot of career objectives that are out there. And so we really want to make sure our graduates master these cross-disciplinary approaches and are able to do research independently, but also work in large teams.
Great. So can you talk about what makes a good applicant for the program? What type of background would they need?
Right. So because aging is influenced by almost everything, and aging itself influences everything, uh, I think really having just curiosity and the desire to discover something new in the aging process is all we're is one of the major things that we're looking for. Because of that, you can have any background. We've had students who apply who were engineers, who were biochemists or molecular biologists. We've had a few that were actually had graduated from medical school and are want to expand their research prowess. And so the background is less important to your desire to actually want to do research and to think about how aging influences chronic disease throughout the lifespan.
Great. So is the admission committee looking for research experience, or what could an applicant expect to put on their application?
Right. So almost all of our applicants have some form of research experience, and that can come in a variety of formats. The majority will have bench science research of some sort, perhaps when they are an undergrad, or if they had a gap year after graduating and maybe worked as a technician. All of that is applicable. But we've had applicants who are really successful who were data scientists, had never done bench research before in the past, but had knowledge in analyzing big data sets. That works as well. We've also had individuals who had clinical research experience, either shadowing a clinician or working in a hospital setting, and they've been successful as well. But the committee is looking for some experience in one of those domains. And really, when you're applying, we want to know, why did that excite you? What did you enjoy about that process? And what does it made you think about? And why are you applying to the PhD program?
That's great to hear that you're looking for transferable skills. So if a student doesn't necessarily have biology of aging research background, they're still encouraged to apply.
Absolutely.
So with the writing sample as part of that application, could you explain what the mission committee is looking for in that?
Yeah, so one of our goals is to train you to communicate science as well. And so part of this lets us know where you are in that process. Some individuals have already published work, maybe not independent work that they've done on their own, but part as a team. That can be included as one of the writing samples. If you've had to write something up scientifically for one of your courses that you had taken in the past, that can be used as an example. But really, we want to see how well you can communicate a complex topic to an audience that maybe isn't familiar with it. And so, one, it gives us a sense of what your communication skills are, but two, also helps us to identify what you might need in the future should you be admitted to the program.
Great. So would an example of a writing sample, such as like a master's thesis, like a paper from a previous class, something they write originally for this program, would all those be suitable?
All of those are perfect.
Great.
And you only need to submit one of them.
Okay, awesome. With that, Some of our students like to reach out to their faculty or may be required to for other PhD programs. How does the faculty in this program respond to that?
But very positively. And actually, I think it's a great way to show that you're interested in geroscience in general. It's not required that you contact a faculty member, though. You'll have ample opportunity to interact with faculty uh, once orientation happens in the program. In fact, part of the program requires that you spend a little bit of time in at least 4 labs in order to find a topic and a mentor that best suit you. But that said, I think you'll one of the hardest things about geroscience is the diversity of the topics that are being covered. And so this can be a good way to actually meet a potential faculty mentor and to find a little bit more about what their expertise are.
In the application, we've put a section for students to indicate 2 to 3 faculty that they want to work with in the program. Is the faculty that they list there going to be the faculty that they work with in the program, or is there flexibility for change?
That's a great question. There's definitely flexibility to change, and in fact, a lot of students, after doing a little bit more research and learning a little bit more about the program, have picked individuals that weren't listed in their application at all, and that's perfectly fine. What's most important, I think, in listing the faculty that you are interested in, maybe it's in your writing sample or as part of the application, telling us why, right? So why are you interested in diet and nutrition? Why are you interested in muscle physiology? Why are you interested in stem cells? You don't have to give a really elaborate statement on this, but it helps to inform us really what you're thinking about and what your interests are.
So you mentioned previously that students don't necessarily have to have a background in this program. Is there certain bachelor's or master's degrees that the mission committee is looking for? And if a student doesn't have a master's, will that automatically disqualify them from consideration?
No, actually, I think the majority of our students come directly from getting their bachelor's degree. That said, individuals that do have a master's degree sometimes have an accelerated experience in the beginning of the program, perhaps because they have more familiarity with doing research in a laboratory. In the first year of our program, one of our major objectives is to bring everybody up to the same speed. And so someone who maybe has a lot of cell biology experience maybe doesn't need as much background in that domain, but might need a little bit more work in genetics or in pharmacology. And the goal of the first year of the program is to bring everybody up to the same level. And so that said, what you studied previously isn't as important as letting us know how you're going to leverage that and why it's brought you to the Geroscience PhD program.
So it sounds like in that first year of the program, during those classes and lab rotations, you're trying to get all the students up to a certain standard. Could you talk about how you do that with the first year set of classes?
Right. So there's 2 courses that are taken in the fall and the spring semester that really cover almost everything in geroscience. And those are each led by one of our faculty. They talk about, one, the fundamentals of what their research is, and then 2, how that's applied in the laboratory in order to do geroscience research. And individuals that take these courses each semester are going to see about 10 faculty members. And so you're exposed to almost 20 different topics just within the first year. For individuals who maybe don't have as much wet lab experience or data science experience, you have the opportunity to do rotations in labs with faculty members who are experts in those domains. And so you'll spend about 8 weeks in each one of those labs, learning techniques, meeting other individuals that are in that lab group. And the goal, one, is to find research that is exciting to you, but also a mentor that will meet your needs in order to make sure that you're a success in the program.
Great. In those lab rotations, can you talk about the requirement of the rotation and the duration?
Yeah, so in general, everybody does 2 rotations each semester. So in fall, you'll do 2, in spring, you'll do 2. At a minimum, we want individuals to do 3 rotations. And so that means there is an opportunity to have one longer rotation if that's of interest to the student. That's not a decision that you need to make right now. That can be made contemporaneously as you're going through the program. Your students first in the first year. And so there are lecture-based courses that you'll have to take. However, you do receive research credit for doing the lab research at the bench as well. And so that is actually part of the curriculum. And you mentioned in the beginning of this webinar that there's also a stipend that is associated with the PhD program. And the basis of that stipend is doing research in the laboratory as well. And so this is a full-time program that runs 12 months out of the year. And the majority of that time is spent at the bench doing research with the idea of that's what's going to be part of your dissertation, and that's what's going to lead to your graduation.
Great. With the dissertation, now that I think we have a clear picture of what the first year in the program looks like, can you talk about the next steps leading up to the dissertation and defense?
Right. So after the first year, after you've done the rotations, you pick a lab that you want to join, and you pick a mentor who's going to help guide you through that process. In the second year, you advance to candidacy, and that's essentially over that second year, you're going to develop what your research project is going to be. You present that to a faculty panel. You defend the idea of what you want to study over the 4 to 6 years that you're going to be in the program. And then after that, almost the entire effort that you're going to have is at the bench or with your data sets, analyzing that data in order to discover something new. The easy way to think about what the standards are in order to get your PhD, you have to discover something new in geroscience and have that published. And the way that gets published is it's peer reviewed by other experts that are in the field. And so you can think about your project being something between 1 and 2 years of research that culminates in a publication that ends up being published in a scientific journal. Now, some individuals will do one major paper, and that's perfectly fine. Others will do 2 or 3 smaller papers. That's really based on what the project is, what is the standard in the field, and what you and the PI expect to get out of the program.
Great. So with the publication, some students may have one, some students may have multiple once they graduate. Are there conferences that students can go to, or are they encouraged to go to during the program?
Absolutely. So we actually have, we initiated the Geroscience Los Angeles meeting that happens here and is held either on the USC campus or next door at the Science Center. And that brings investigators that are interested in the biology of aging across the greater Los Angeles area together. So that's a really easy way to present research to a broad and diverse audience and to get feedback. But that said, almost all of our students will go to either a national or an international conference as well. And those are really good opportunities to present early versions of your work, receive feedback from peers and other experts that are in the field, and really can help you shape what the end publication is going to look like.
Great. And then can you talk about the last stages of the program? What's the defense like?
Yeah, so the same thing for whether it's in the qualifying exam that's taken in the second year, you have another committee, which is your dissertation committee, that's helped guide you in this process as well. Your primary mentor, the lab that you're working in, is your day-to-day contact that's going to help guide you through this process. But you have 3 to 4 additional faculty experts that are there to give you advice and help you get through the PhD process as well. Those individuals become really familiar with your research project, and they are the ones that ultimately sign off on you obtaining the PhD. And in doing that, you will write a dissertation. It is a culmination of the research that you've done throughout the 4 to 6 years in the program. And then you will defend that orally to that group, as well as to peers and family members and friends that want to see what you've been doing for the last 4 to 6 years. And then after that defense, you are given the PhD.
What an exciting time to then celebrate your hard work and accomplishments over the years.
It really is. And I think students don't realize until the end, once they've gotten there, how much time they've spent and effort goes into getting the PhD. And it's very cathartic, doing the presentation at the very end. It's great not only for the student and the mentor and the people in the lab, but those faculty that have helped guide you through the process, and family and friends, I think, get a lot out of it at the end too.
That's exciting. And I think that's one of my favorite things throughout the school year is commencement and seeing them celebrate in person in front of all their loved ones.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about the duration of the program? We've previously mentioned it's about 4 to 6 years. Is there an average that students get out in?
Yeah, the average is really 5. And I think it it can vary based on the student and the mentor pair. It depends on the basis of the research project. If a project involves acquiring a lot of primary data, that might take a little bit longer in the process. If it's analyzing large data sets that are already available, that could be a little bit quicker. That said, some projects are quite complex and still end up being 5 to 6 years also. But it really, there's no reason that a student can't finish in 5 years. But I think one of the benefits of our program is there is flexibility that allows you to graduate a little bit faster or take a little bit time if it's needed.
Great. So can you talk a little bit about the day-to-day in kind of two phases? One, that first year when students are taking classes and their initial lab rotations, and then two, when they're starting the dissertation research.
Right. So in the first year, it's a split between in-classroom experiences, where you're learning those foundational components of geroscience and doing research in the lab in order to find the lab that you want to join. In the second year, you've joined a lab. And there's really less classes that need to be taken in year 2 and 3 of the program, such that more of the time and effort that you're going to spend is going to be at the bench doing research. It is a full-time program, so you're paid for 20 hours a week from that stipend. But the remaining time that's going to be spent during the week comes from getting credit for doing research in the lab. And so part of the degree requirements or the 60-unit requirement for getting the PhD involves getting units for doing research at the bench.
Great. So some students that may have started a PhD program elsewhere or have their own funding, how should they indicate that on their application, or how would that be incorporated into their program?
Yeah, so I think there are fundamentals that are universal across a lot of biological-based PhD programs. And so if someone is bringing in course credit, we look at all of that to see how it could be applied to the major degree requirements for our PhD. And we can figure that out on a case-by-case basis. Individuals that have funding already should definitely indicate that on their personal statement in the application. A lot of those funding mechanisms sometimes come with a preset idea of what you're going to be working on. And so it's really good to reach out either to you, Stephen, or people are welcome to email me as well if there's questions about this. But really, I guess the bottom line is to make sure that you indicate that somewhere on the application so that we can find that information out, just so we can get a full picture of who you are and why you want to be in this PhD program.
That's great advice for those types of applicants. And then one of my kind of last final questions would be, what can a student expect in this program during their day to day?
Yeah, so most of the time is going to be spent in the lab. So depending on this, a lot of our labs have somewhere between, can be as small as 3 or 4 individuals that are working under one PI, to larger labs that can have a dozen individuals, ranging from undergraduates, master students, PhD candidates, postdoctoral fellows, and research assistants. And so you're gonna spend a lot of the time with those individuals. This is also a really important part of the rotation experience that you're going to have in that first year. Your primary goal is to find a mentor that's going to help support you through the PhD process. Second to that is a topic that you are excited about. I think what's nice is that we universally are all interested in the biological basis of aging. And so if that is already interesting to you, I guarantee you'll find someone whose research program is also interesting. But at the same time, you also want to find a place that's almost like a home, individuals that you want to work with day to day, so that you'll have a really positive experience during the PhD program. Now, that said, our cohorts tend to be very tight. And so you'll spend a lot of your time with other PhD students that are at various degrees throughout the program. Beyond just the geroscience PhD, a lot of our faculty are mentors in other programs across the university. And so we have other PhD students from different programs that you'll interact with as well. But this is actually a really great strength of this program, because I think you get a really diverse experience in the individuals that you're going to interact with on a day-to-day basis.
Sounds like because there's so much lab work and bench work, there's no possibility for any remote work in the program.
That's true. So this is a residential program. Part of the experience is interacting and learning from both the PI as well as members of the lab. And because of that, that is a hands-on experience. And so we actually don't offer a remote PhD.
I think that's great though, because it contributes to the closeness of the cohort and your bond with your faculty advisor and the other faculty in the program.
And I think a strength of the program here at the School of Gerontology is actually the ethos. It is one building, multiple levels, but everybody, again, is interested in the aging process. And that universal idea really innervates the entire building. And I think is actually a really exciting and unique experience that you can't find anywhere else.
It is true. Every time you walk through our doors, you can almost say hi to anyone because we're a smaller school on the university's campus and we really do get to know each other pretty well.
Exactly.
So Dr. Curran, my last question for you is, what is one tip of advice that you would have for prospective students interested in the PhD in Geroscience program?
Let us know why you're excited about this opportunity, right? And so we really want to know, what is your past experience and how has that informed your decision to apply to the PhD program? And what do you want to get out of it? Be candid in your response in that. Let us know why this is exciting to you, why you want to be here, and why we should select you to be a part of the next cohort.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kern, for your helpful insights into the PhD in Geroscience program here at the USC School of Gerontology. This concludes our webinar for today. If you have any questions about the program, please visit our website, gero.usc.edu. And if you have any specific questions about your own individual application or admission process, or even which program is the best fit for you, please reach out to me. Again, my name is Steven and I'm an admission counselor. Thank you again, and we hope to see you on our campus soon.
Thank you.